everybody, welcome to Assistus. My name is Magnus, and in this video I'm going to be doing something that's kind of interesting. If you're a fan of Ninjago, you may know that one of the things Ninjago is known for, aside from dragons, is mechs. LEGO has been producing a lot of mechs for a Ninjago team because, well, that's basically one of the things Ninjago is known for, obviously. However, if you have been following along recently, you may have noticed that a lot of mechs belong to Kai and Lloyd. Basically, these two ninja have more mechs than basically any other member of the ninja team. And now that actually got me thinking, does LEGO produce too many Kai and Lloyd mechs? So in this video, I'm going to be going over every single Kai and Lloyd mech, and I'm gonna be determining if they have too many mechs. But before I take a look at them, I just want to get some other things off the way. I will not be looking at any juniors mechs, they won't count. And also I won't be looking at the mechs from the movie because that's a whole completely different canon. But without too much more talking, let's just get into the video. So the first mech that Kai got was the Fire mech from Season 2 The Final Battle, which if Ninjago actually ended, this would have actually been his only mech. That's actually kind of funny. But then it actually took some time for Kai to get his next mech, and the next one was the Mech Jet from Season 12 Prime Empire. Now this mech is a bit interesting because it can also be rebuilt into a jet, so it's also kind of cool. Now in Season 13 Master of the Mountain, he got another mech, which is the Firestone mech. This was all actually a shared mech between him and Cole. So I guess it is half a Kai mech and half a Cole mech, if you wanna call it that. The next time Kai got a mech was with Ninjago Core. First of all, there was a mech in the Ninja Dojo Temple, which is basically in the same scale as Zane's power-up mech Evo. However, he also got a mech in the Ninja Ultra Combo mech. Basically, the center of the mech is basically a Kai mech, so it's kind of funny how he got two mechs in the same wave. Now, the next Kai mech was actually a year later for the second wave of core sets, where we got Kai's Mech Rider Evo. So this was the first Mech Rider from Ninjago, and this one is actually not really that great, to be honest. The next Kai mech was released alongside Dragon Slicing Season 2, so now we're in the Dragon Slicing era. And the first Dragon Slicing mech he got was his Elemental mech. So this is one of the elemental mechs that you can basically mix and match. But now the next Kai mech actually came out not soon after with the Climber mech. And now, interesting fact, this right here was originally going to be a Wildfire mech, but they decided to give it to Kai just because they thought it would sell better. But if you wanted to, you could actually put Wildfire in the mech and say it is her mech, though she does actually have a mech now. The next Kai mech was with Dragon Slicing Season 3 with the Mech Storm Rider, which, here's the thing, in the show, Wildfire does actually pilot this thing, though Kai also does get a chance to pilot it. But now that same year, he actually got another mech, which is the Fire Knight mech from Legends Monstrosity. And I do think this one is actually very, very good, not gonna lie. And now we enter 2026 with Dragon Slicing Season 4, where we have Kai's Dragon Mech Battle Pack. So yeah, now Kai got a mech battle pack, and I do think these mechs are very decent, and this one is actually very good. However, he also got another mech this year, which is for Legends Duskfall, and this is of course his Titan mech, which was bundled together with Nia's mech. And that was basically it for every single Kai mech that Ninjago has ever put out. But here's the big question. How many mechs does Kai even have? Well, the answer to that question is 12. Kai has had 12 mechs in the entire Ninjago team. That is actually pretty crazy to think about. And now it's even crazier when you consider that we went 7 years without a Kai mech. That's pretty crazy. But one thing that's kind of interesting is since 2024, Kai has actually had 2 mechs per year. That is actually pretty crazy to think about as well. And he has had a mech every year since 2022. But do I think he has too many mechs? Well, honestly, yes, I do think he has a lot of mechs. And I'm very surprised that he got a lot of mechs, but never a Titan mech until this year. That actually kind of surprised me quite a bit. But I am actually very happy to see him finally get a Titan mech. Very happy about that. So now we've taken a look at every single Kai mech. Now let's take a look at every single Lloyd mech. So the first Lloyd mech was also from Season 2 of Final Battle, and it was the golden mech that was included with the Temple of Light set. Now, the thing is, this mech is technically also the first Ninjutsu Masters mech, but the thing is, Lloyd does pilot this in a show, so I think it's safe to call this his mech. Now the next Lloyd mech was released with Season 11 Secrets of the Forbidden Ninjutsu, where we got his Titan mech, which I do think is a very awesome looking mech. Now the next mech they got was actually the legacy version of the golden mech. So yeah, I'm also kinda legacy version as well, if I actually didn't point out earlier. The next mech he got was for Season 15 Seabound, where he got the Hydro mech, which is a pretty unique looking mech. The next mech that he got was actually in 2023 with the second core wave, where we got Lloyd's Mech Battle Evo, which I actually think is a very interesting looking mech. But now that same year, for Dragon's Rising Season 1, we got Lloyd and Aaron's Ninja Team mechs, where basically Lloyd got this very big mech, which I actually do think looks very, very unique. And then with Dragon's Rising Season 2, we got Lloyd's Elemental Power mech, which actually didn't appear in the show, but I guess this existed for people who didn't want to buy Egg Out because it includes some of the same minifigures. But I do actually think it's kind of weird how this is supposed to be like a samurai mech, though there is a Samurai Lloyd minifigure that does exist. So that minifigure would go very well with this mech, not gonna lie. The next mech that he got was with Dragon's Rising Season 3, where we got Lloyd's Jet mech, which is actually a very cool mech because, well, it's a mech that can transform into a jet. And now even though we got the same thing for Kai, with a Kai mech you actually couldn't transform it, you actually had to rebuild it. But here you basically transform it, which I do think is very, very cool. But now we enter 2026, and starting off with Dragon's Rising Season 4, we have Lloyd's Dragon Mech Battle Pack. So it's kind of interesting how we got 2 Dragon Mech Battle Packs this year. Was actually not expecting that at all. However, earlier in the year, we also got a legacy version of Lloyd's Titan Mech. That was also actually kind of unexpected, not gonna lie. So now we've taken a look at every single Lloyd mech. The big question is now, how many mechs does he have? Well, the answer is 10. Yes, he only has 10 mechs. So basically, Kai has 2 more mechs than Lloyd. And we've gotten a Lloyd mech every year since 2023. Or actually, 2019 if you count the Junior's core mech from 2022, which again, I'm not counting Junior sets, so I'm not counting that one. But hey, at least he hasn't had 2 mechs every single year. That's actually a very good thing. Though he did have 2 mechs in 2023 and 2026. And now, I was kind of surprised to see LEGO remake his Titan mech. But the reason why it is just to make it fit in with the other Titan mechs. Which, here's the thing, I wasn't really a fan of the mech at first, but it has kind of grown on me over time. And at least I don't have to buy, it makes it so I don't have to buy the real Titan mech anymore, because now we have this thing. However, you know what I do need to buy now? Jay's Titan mech, because here's the thing. Aside from the Druid that released this year, that's the only Titan mech that I'm actually missing. And I do hope I will be able to get that mech just so that way I can hopefully have all of the Titan mechs. Well, that is, unless they actually remake that one. We'll see about that. But anyways, that's it for this video. I just wanted to look into how many mechs Kai and Lloyd have. And here's the thing, I do actually think that LEGO has produced too many Kai and Lloyd mechs. I do think we kind of need a break from them. And I do hope we will see more mechs from some of the other ninjas. For example, Nia hasn't really had too many mechs, though she does have her Titan mech now, which was released alongside Kai's, which I do appreciate. And I do also hope we will get some more mechs for, say, some of the other ninja, like the newer ninja from Dragon's Rising. Hopefully we'll get some more mechs from for those ninja, because that will also be very appreciated. But now let me know down in the comments below if you think LEGO is producing way too many Kai and Lloyd mechs, because honestly, like I said, I do think they are producing a bit too many. But anyways, that's it for this video. If you liked this video, make sure to leave a like. And make sure to subscribe to this YouTube and hit that bell notification button so that you can have a new video. So do now, and I'll see you next time. Bye bye.